At CBF, we know that for you to change your body, you need to change your mind. Exercise and eating healthy is only part of the plan. We care about our members as we care about our family, because our members become our family. It is not about competition, but support. It is not about being the strongest or the fastest, but about you defeating your negative self. It is about working together and making the task challenging and have fun. By the end, what matters is not how hard the session was, but that you take control of your mind so you can take control of your body. My name is Sandro Torres, and I'm happy you are part of our family. Welcome to Custom Body Fitness. Let's begin. Today I'm gonna be talking about how I save money, how I control myself, how I understand other people, how I understand advertising, and by understanding advertising, I can understand how people and the government and how corporations trying to sell me things, and how they want me to buy, or they want me to behave somehow, how they want me to behave. So we're gonna be talking about this book. It touched a lot of aspects of my life, and I'm gonna tell you how. I'm gonna be actually going through the book and teaching you a couple of things I learned from this book. I really recommend you read it, because the conclusions you're gonna make from this book is gonna be different than my conclusions. And depending where you are in your life, that's what you're gonna learn from this book. And the same thing, depending who you are, what do you do for life, if you are a business owner, if you're an employee, if you have a family, don't have a family, this is a good book for you to read, and you're gonna make different conclusions depending on the person who you are. So let's begin. I am gonna begin with starting with reciprocation. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about how reciprocation works, and then I'm gonna tell you a couple of stories how I apply this in my life. So reciprocation works very simple. I give you something, and then I get something from you. So because I'm a nice guy, you're probably gonna try to pay me back. For example, doesn't work with everybody, of course, but it works with a lot of people, because we are human beings and we like to help and we like to be helped. Remember, there is a guy. His name is Simon Sinek. He talks about all the chemicals that go through our body, and it talks about how reciprocation actually release oxytocin, which is a chemical that makes us feel good, and it's a chemical that we need not to be depressed. But we're not gonna be talking about that. I'm just wanna mention that to you, because I want you to understand that we humans, and we work with the law of reciprocation. So what reciprocation does is, if you do something good for somebody else, that person is it's going to be in debt with you somehow. So there is people, they know this. There is businesses, they know this. For example, this book talks about a great example. Actually, not this book, but the writer of this book. I was listening to one of his interviews, and he says that in McDonald's, in one of the countries, that what they used to do McDonald's is, people used to come, and when they bring their kids, they used to give them a balloon once they leave the building, and that actually give the message to the parents to come back and to buy more. So people actually, they increase the sales, I believe, for 25% with returning clients, because they got that balloon. I still have a friend that he actually, it's very good in reciprocation. He does a lot of good things for me, and therefore I feel in debt with him. But you notice and you understand when somebody is doing it by the bottom of his heart, you can feel that. And this is this is one of the things that I do feel with one of my friends. When he does something for me, all of it's something that I persuade. I do understand that he wants to do it because he wants to help me. Therefore, I feel in debt with him. No matter what he needs, when he calls me, I do everything that is in my hands to be there for him because he reciprocates with me big time. However, there is people that you also feel it. There is people, they play this rule. They want to reciprocate with you, but they do it because they want something from you. And even though this person plays nice, it happened with a friend long time ago. He is a nice guy. He's not a mean guy. He's not a bad guy. But he knows this rule because he's very good reciprocating. But because he knows this rule, he says this rule to so you can feel in debt with him. So when you need something, you pay back. But also, I had the feeling with this different guy. With this different guy, I understand that he knows the rule and he actually uses it. So I feel in debt with him. So there is two different things. You know when a person is doing it by the bottom of the heart, and you know another person who is trying to use the rule, so you feel in debt with him. So my point out of this is the rule of reciprocation is you need to be aware, you need to trust your intuition, who is actually doing this rule from the bottom of his or her heart and trying to help you, and then you can feel in debt. And who is trying to use you, who is trying to actually get something from you, and therefore is using the same rule, but so you can be in debt with that person. Now, this is one of the things that is very important. You can learn this rule by you helping others. But this is what I learned. Not from this book, from another book. Actually, the rule of reciprocation I learned from this book, but another book came over and filled up a couple gaps. The thing is, if you reciprocate with people, if you do things for people, listening to people's problem, helping people on the side of the road that have a flat tire, giving money to people who needs it, and don't expect anything back, people feel that. So I do that with a lot of people, with a lot of my clients, with a lot of friends and so on. I don't expect anything back when I give things to them. And because they do feel that, they feel in debt with me, which is actually not my goal. My goal is to help them. But because of that, they reciprocate with me. But that's the same thing I feel the other way around when other people wants to help me and then do it not expecting anything back from me. I feel that. So, two things to learn from that rule. Once again, I said it once. Give things away, help people. So people actually reciprocate with you. And the second thing is be aware of people who do that from the bottom of their heart. And be aware of people who use the rule so they can use you so you can give back to them whenever they need something. Okay, the other thing that I learned from this book is commitment and consistency. This is so amazing. And it plays the role with this coronavirus issue that is going on right now. So the author of this book talks about horse betting. So it talks about how people who are betting for whatever horse they think they're gonna win, they're not sure before they bet. They're not sure if the horse is gonna win. If they choose a particular horse and they look at it and they say this horse might win for whatever reason they think they're gonna win, because they hear reviews from the horse, because it's the most beautiful horse, because the legs look stronger, for whatever reason, they're not sure if they're gonna win, but decide to bet into the horse. Once they bet into the horse, they committed to the horse. Now they think they know they're gonna win. The horse they bet it's gonna win. There is no change on the horse from the beginning when he wasn't sure about the horse, and when he bet into that horse, there is no change in that specific time. But now the guy who bet for the horse, now he's committed to the horse. Therefore, he thinks he's gonna win. Another example that this book talks about is about he went to a seminar where they were talking about transcendent meditation, and he is in his college. They're psychologists, so they can see through the lies. So when they went to this seminar, the person who was doing the presentations were talking about they can get anything from transcendent psychology, and they can make a lot of money, they can be happy, blah 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 blah. And they tried people that all the people who came to the seminar, they had a higher level program that this presenter trying he was trying for people to sign up to the higher program, which costs more money. So the psychologists, their team, they went to this seminar. They start seeing the flaws and the lies and the things that didn't make sense. So one of them decided to approach the presenter in front of the audience. So he say, I think there is a lot of flaws and lie in your program because these things don't match and don't make sense. So when he confronted the presenter, he actually accepts some of the flaws, and some of the flaws couldn't explain it. After that confrontation, everybody walked away, and the presenter thought that the psychologist thought that many people won't sign up to the program because all the flaws and lies that he actually talked about in front of the people. However, the surprise was that a lot of people were more committed to sign up to the program. And the reason is because they already made their mind before the psychology actually approached the presenter. It's interesting how we commit to something once we committed to that specific thing, then it's difficult for us to change our mind. And that I made that mistake with a relationship that I had. I remember that I wanted my relationship to work so hard that I didn't see the flaws in the person, how negative it was and things like that. And we were completely different, opposite person. And I was committed for the relationship to work that I blind myself to all those things that will cause trouble in the future in the relationship. But I was so committed to it that I didn't even pay attention. 2 years later, when I started recalling everything that happened, I noticed that we weren't meant to be. It's not that the girl was a bad person or was mean or anything like that. The issue was that we weren't made to be together. Because I was committed, I made the mistake to invest those 2 years, and by the end couldn't work. So pay attention to that. Pay attention that you don't make your mind before you listen to all the flaws and problems and issues, and make sure you make a research on everything. Don't just trust because the authority is telling you that that's the right thing to do. The other thing I learned from this book is social proof. This is an impressive one. It talks about various studies here, but people tend to do what other people are doing because they think that because all the people are doing it, it means that that's the right thing to do. And that's a lie. So I have learned to study what other people, even though it's the majority, most people are doing, because they be an influence. I think about it, I make my study. If everybody's doing it, that doesn't mean that it's right. they're being influenced somehow to make that decision, even though they don't think they're being influenced. And therefore, once I study what the rest are doing, I make sure it is the right thing to do. I base things on my persuasion, not my persuasion, my intuition, my knowledge, and my values. And once I make that, even though I'm against everybody and everybody's saying the different things, I do the right thing. I make sure I stand up for my values, my intuition, and my research. So think about that. Not because everybody's doing it, it means that it's right. The other one is liking. That's another one. We don't think that we are persuaded when we buy things, but actually there is a lot of studies in this book that talks about how beautiful people, handsome guys, and things that are exuberant actually sell more than things that don't. And people who we like, who tend to be like us, that's the reason why we like them. We tend to be persuaded by that. So for example, let's say you identify with me because I'm Hispanic, because I'm a male, because I like fitness. For whatever reason you identify with me. Because you identify with me and you feel like we belong and we are like. You like me, and therefore you let yourself persuade by me, even though you don't know if I'm lying or not lying. So you're not sure about the things that is happening, what is true, what is lie, but because you like me and because you feel identified by me, you just trust me. So be aware of that. Don't just because you like and feel identified with somebody, that means that it's true. Once again, you need to make a research. The other thing this is an amazing one, I learned from is authority. And I see this a lot with politics and with doctors. Because we think they're study, we think there are authorities, and we just follow rules without even questioning it. Is whatever the doctors prescribe is true or is a lie, if it's the best decision we can make. Now, with this in mind, I'm not saying that all the doctors are not good. There is a lot of good doctors out there, but there is a lot of doctors that make a lot of mistakes. Remember, the number 2 cause of death in the U.S. is mispractice of either people die on surgery, the wrong medication. There is a lot of people dying from just trusting the doctor without questioning things. There is an experiment that talks. There is an experiment that you can read here in this book that is amazing to me. It makes me realize how vulnerable and malleable we are when we just let the authority lead us. It talks about an experiment where let's say there is the authority, there is the person who is who they're doing the experiment with, and there is the actor. So the experiment is about hurting the actor. The actor, of course, who is the experiment, the person who is the experiment doesn't know that the person is an actor, but he is in a room, and the authority tells the person to shock him. So there is in the room they have cables attached to the actor, and the person is supposed to start shocking him with electricity, starting with a very low doses, if you want to call it. So, and only hurts. So the person knows that what they want to get from the experiment is to know, I believe, how much pain they can handle. I believe that's the results, but I can't remember. But the real experiment is that they want to find out how far the person can go hurting the actor. So when they turn the authority tells the person to turn the notch a little bit up. So when he turns that notch up, the actor starts shaking and say, "This hurts a little bit, but I can handle a little bit more or whatever. So the authority says, let's turn the notch a little bit more, and then the actor start hurting more and more to the point that he start complaining about it. But the actor is actually acting, right? He's not getting the shocks in real life, but he's complaining, says, stop this, I'm hurting, I feel like I'm dying here. And if the authority says go a notch up, usually most people turn it up. I think out of 100 people, only one said, I'm not gonna do this. And most people will just do it, even though the actor will die with those shocks. And the reason is because we put our trust in the authority. If something happens, we can blame the authority, but many people don't take responsibility of their action. This is an amazing experiment. It's the same thing that happened in World War II. People, if the government of Hitler tell the police, go arrest this person, go put this medication, go take him to a camp or whatever, people just follow order. And that's how many people die, because they just follow order without questioning things, without even understanding they're doing the harm. They should take responsibility. They should put their shoes in the other person and understand that they're hurting the other person. But they just follow rules of the authority. So I learned that authority doesn't mean they're right. It means that it might have knowledge, but by the end, you are the responsible for your own actions. It's a good book. That's another good thing I learned. Scarcity. So this is another good one. And probably you are aware of this one already because many businesses use it. But even though many businesses use it, some people still fall into this one, is that if I tell you there is only, let's say, 10 iPhones, they just created 10 iPhones, and that iPhone costs $20,000 because the special edition, because it's a scar, because a lot of people can't get it, it's only 10 of them. A lot of people will pay for those 10 iPhones the $20,000. So when things are scarcity, many people tend to pay more for it because they don't feel there is not enough. They feel like they're losing something. And when you think about this is a very good concept that you can apply in dating as well. I learned this in dating, because if you like somebody, I bet you go through this, you haven't gone through this, but if you like somebody and you are available for that person rejects you because you're way too open, available for that person. So that means that he or she can ask you out, can dish you or whatever, and because you are available, you're not in a scarcity. You're there for that person. However, if you show that you like that person, but you're not available all the time, so now the other person is feeling like it's losing you, like it's putting you in jeopardy, and you may have other options out there, and therefore she or he start falling in love with you because you're scared, you're not available for that person. That's another thing that I learned. That's the summary of this book. There is a lot of things that you're gonna learn, and there is a lot of specific experiments that are very good that I recommend you read. But that's the summary of this book. I hope you liked my summary, and I'm gonna continue doing those small summaries and conclusions I made from this book. So next Thursday, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come out with another book and tell you what I learned from that book. So get this book, read it, and learn from it. And hopefully you get to save money, like I said. And the way I save money is by not being influenced and buying things that I don't want to buy. Because simply I feel I'm not going to get them, losing it. I let it go. I don't care anymore, or because somebody's trying to influence on me buying something instead of the reciprocate. They use that tool that's give me something for free so I can go buy more or things like that. That helped me save money. It helped me to understand myself and see how people behave and take the right path instead of following the crowd, because following the crowd, that doesn't mean that it's true. It's better to be doing the right thing even though that you're lonely than doing the wrong thing and following the crowd. So read this book, and hopefully I see you next Thursday with another review.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed the content offered here, then I know you will enjoy these books. These are great tools to lead you to successful weight loss, better health, and greater happiness.